Hello everybody and welcome back to Stellaris, where we are kind of sitting around watching the Hive go to war while we build a bunch of things and just kind of wait for some time to pass. So we did see multiple fleets going up to the regime of Dervanus, or what remains of it. So there is that. It'll be interesting to see how exactly this war pans out. The Hive does have some fleets down this way. Actually, a relatively sizable one down this way. Let's take a quick look at how the war score is going on here. Attacker is at 11%, defenders at 20%. So, I mean, the Hive is winning, but not amazingly cleanly. Okay. Well, that's good to know. We are currently 890 days away from restoring this ruined ring section. So that's pretty excellent. We're colonizing Nucleus and Locus currently. Habitable Section C is not currently colonized, though. We'll get there. 800 days on this megastructure. Once that finishes up, we're going to be starting to work on our science nexus up here. But that will be a while before we're ready to do this. Of course, we can work on our gateway network simultaneously. That doesn't count as a standard megastructure. So our gateway network is in progress, and we are almost done with it, actually. I think going forward, we're not going to worry too much about developing any of these areas. We'll just toss them at sectors and call it a day, probably. And as far as fighting the Condign Concord goes after we fight the Just Axis, well, they've got a lot of these little exclaves, which are awkward. Super, super awkward. But we'll need to take them. We'll need to take all of them. Because we are going for galactic domination. That is the only thing that we will accept as a victory condition, since we already achieved the domination, or the domination victory. We are going for the conquest victory, though. We know of 8 other independent empires in the galaxy. That includes the Ugarlic Star Dynasty. That includes the Valen Cooperative, the Hisma Eradicators, the Human Harmonious Kingdom, the Democratic Corinth Planets, the Regime of Dervanus, the Xeran Commonality, and the Hive. I think that's all of them. Okay, so of those, most of them are in the Condign Concord, but most of them are these tiny little exclaves. Like the Xeran Commonality. The Valen Cooperative has 3 exclaves, but then there's this, and then there's the Human Harmonious Kingdom.
A new world has been secured for our colonists.
The big ones are going to be the Democratic Corinth Planets and the Hisma Eradicators in the Condign Concord. The Ugarlics are going to fall pretty quickly in the Just Axis, and the Hive is our biggest rival. They're considered equivalent to us, even though their fleet power is substantially inferior. Hey, a colony ship up here finished. So let's go ahead and find somewhere for that to settle, shall we? Here's a size 22. I would like to grab... I mean, we could grab this one, the Mishri system. I'm looking for ones, prioritizing ones that have Betharian Stone. Just because this sector desperately needs energy credits. That doesn't seem to be... Oh, here's one. Okay. Straddle. Come on down. We are going to settle here. Colonize this planet, stick it right next to the Betharian Stone. I like it. Let's go. So how's this war going? I mean, I haven't seen any territory changing hands. It's a little strange. The Ugarlics have their Federation fleet over here now. Where does this wormhole connect? To Trunt? Okay. Now that's interesting. So how did they get their Federation fleet over here already? Oh yeah, they have jump drives. That's how they did it. That's how they did it. Do we have the jump drive tech? Or did we just skip that? We are currently using jump drives. Okay. Excellent. Yep, we are using jump drives. That is great. That's exactly what I wanted to see. What could possibly go wrong? Okay, so these construction ships are actually about 60% done each with their respective gateways, so that is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic, in fact. We will be able to finish this up in terms of our gateway network this episode. Basically guaranteed. So with our gateway network finishing up, that was building cost. I mean, that's useful for our sectors. That's the word I'm looking for. Sectors. Now, we're going pretty heavily into kinetic weaponry, correct? Yeah. We're tearing through armor, or rather, we're tearing through shields. But we do have some gamma lasers and such. So I'm just trying to decide whether we go for an energy weapon upgrade, which would probably be damage, or whether we go for a shield upgrade. And I think the answer is we go for the energy weapon damage, just because it's significantly cheaper. So let's go ahead and do that. Excellent. So as far as declaring war goes, I'm going to stick to our timetable. As soon as these two gateways are done, we're declaring war. If these guys happen to be at a weak point at the time, great. I mean, they have been throwing resources away in this war. So that's fine. I'm A-okay with them doing that. For right now, the game plan is very, very simple. And with us having jump drives, we may actually be able to grab this, which would be nice. But for right now, that's not going to be an option, obviously, since we haven't declared war yet. We're currently up to 607 naval cap. I mean, we're getting there, but we're not ready for a third fleet yet. We could theoretically have a small fleet, but I'm not really sure what the point of that would be. I think we're fine with just having our two big fleets. There is not a single fleet in the galaxy that can stand up to one of our fleets. All of their fleets combined could give one of our fleets a decent fight. If we're fighting just the Just Axis or just the Condign Concord, all of their fleets together could fight one of our fleets. And maybe even win. Probably not. But maybe even win. But let's be honest, they're not going to be all grouped up. So we need a little bit more time. We're at 75% on our gateways here. As far as this goes, this Ruined Ring section should be done very, very soon. Yeah, under a year. So that is great. Once that is done, we will start construction on, well, the question then becomes, do we want to build our science nexus immediately? Or do we want to begin construction on a construction site for a sensor array? That's the question. I don't have an answer for that just yet, But we still have another 20% on the construction to make up our minds. All things considered, I think a sensor array would be more useful to us. That said, will it be done before our war is done? And the answer is probably not. Almost certainly not. Science Nexus would be a good long-term investment,
We have
but
claimed a new world.
we're not really looking at a long-term game anymore. What we're looking at here is 2, maybe 3 wars, and then we conquer the galaxy. Like, we're getting close to the end here. I'm thinking maybe a total of 120 episodes on this, something like that. Like, I don't think we're going to be ending this imminently,
Pioneers have
but
made planetfall.
relatively soon. Once we've wiped out the Hive, then we can dismantle a huge number of our bastions, build new bastions along our borders with the Condyne Concord, and then just steamroll them. I mean, we technically don't even need the bastions, probably. It would be a little awkward to chase them around, but with us having the advantage of using our Stargates, I think we could do it. Yeah, What is this? Why is this so much darker? No, seriously, why is the Valen Cooperative down here dark and these are light? That's a little strange, isn't it? Valen Cooperative, President Vaglog. Is this the same faction? Yeah, President Vaglog. That's weird. Yeah, I'm a little confused by why that's darker. They do have a gateway here, of course. But that's fine. We'll capture that soon enough. How's this war going, anyway? I mean, I assume the Hive is still winning. Yeah, I mean, they are. But it's still not clean. Like, it's quite not clean, in fact. It's very interesting. Well, we've just about got this done. This construction site here. So let's hop on in here and be ready to get this going. There we go. Go ahead and upgrade this. And then I want this guy to come on back to the Zero system. And I think I have made up my mind to construct a mega structure. Specifically, the Sentry Array. Now, we don't quite have enough influence. We need 3 more months. So just come on over here. By the time he gets here, we'll have our influence. And then the question becomes, simply, do we waste time? I think we do. That'll be fine. Okay, we need how much more? 12 more? Yeah. Gateway construction site ready. Excellent. Gateway in the Devasa system is now in place. Fantastic. So we need to get this guy upgrading as well. So that'll be another 1800 days there. And now, ideally, I would like to come up this way into, like, the Hark system. And ideally, I'd love to build a Dyson sphere here. But that'll take a lot of time and influence. And I think that is a good long-term goal, but ultimately I think building a sensor array is a better short-term goal. I want to have a Dyson sphere up by the end of this game, ideally. And I think we've got time for that. Oh hey, we did not throw this guy at the Valen sector. There you go. Have that, Valen sector. Fantastic. And now we have enough influence. So let's go ahead and bring... Well, which one is it that's coming in here? This guy. Let's go ahead and build a mega structure. Would We are unable to do this because we are building or upgrading a different megastructure. That's interesting. We aren't, though. We're upgrading gateways. Right? Yeah, we're just upgrading gateways.
We have
Oh,
claimed
this one didn't finish. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Ringworld section restored. Building on what remains of the ruined Ringworld in the Lachium system, our engineers have managed to fully restore one of its sections. The new biosphere had to be created more or less from scratch by our leading planetologists, but it is now considered stable and ready for habitation. Excellent. Okay, so now we can build this thing. Oh boy. And we are going to go ahead and build a sentry array. Fantastic. Hey, gateway constructed in the Obatellis system. I don't suppose we can queue up a construction site right now, can we? Hypothetically, if we had the influence. We don't have the influence, obviously. No, we can't queue it up, even if we had the influence. Cannot build due to existing orbital station. That's interesting. So we would have to destroy our mining station, I guess. That makes sense. With that being the case, we might want to choose a different system, although that is a great system for it. All it's got is the 3 energy credits. Is there a better one? Here's a similar one. Here's a better one. All it's got is 2 energy credits. In fact, there's 2 of them up here. So let's go ahead and bring this guy all the way up to here. He'll be there in like a million years. Oh boy. Okay. So these construction sites take 1,800 days to progress.
Our
It's
pioneers
a
have
little
made
extreme.
planetfall.
And in the meantime, since we're constructing that build site, am I correct in assuming that we cannot construct our science nexus? Correct. Unfortunate. Okay. Well, regardless, those are kind of backseat projects, and our primary focus is on taking over the galaxy. So here pretty soon, once these 2 gateways over here finish up, we're going to be very simply declaring war and wrecking some face. Which these will be completed in about 1,500 days, so I figure that will probably be in the next episode that we'll decide to do that. Although, if we see a good opportunity, like if these guys drop down to pathetic, then we'll just go. But otherwise, I mean, these guys are pathetic. But I mean, if the hive over here, if their fleet power drops down to pathetic, or if their overall rating goes to inferior, that's when we pull the trigger early. Otherwise, we wait for these gateways to finish, and then we go. So, 1,500 days or sooner. We wipe out the Star Dynasty, that's the primary goal of our initial operation here. And then the secondary operation would be to eliminate the hive. But the order in which we do that is going to be relatively important. So the initial goal is to wipe out the Star Dynasty in the first strike. Yeah, so maybe what we do is, well, no, I still want this to happen this way. So we wipe out the Ugarlic Star Dynasty very quickly in the first strike. And then, meanwhile, this is up here, and then we kind of want to take out this area and this area of the hive and deny those areas to them. Then we can start pushing in over here and have one of our fleets on defensive duty along this border and this border. Hence the gateways, in order to get around quickly. That's kind of the plan for this war going forward. Of course, we do still have a fair amount of time before we're ready to put that into effect 1400
Our
days.
pioneers have made planetfall.
And we're settling a lot of planets, too, so that's fine, too. How's this war going, anyway? I have checked them... Well, they just dropped down to inferior here. That's intriguing. That's very intriguing. How's this war going? 20 and 39. Okay, so they're not close to ending this war yet. If they were, I would pull the trigger on this, since they dropped to inferior. If their fleet power goes to pathetic, we 100% declare war. But since nothing there really changed, it just changed the overall classification, I think we say this war isn't close to over yet. They still have time to continue to weaken themselves. And we don't really want to stop them from doing that just yet. Hey, look at that. That's almost 100k right there. That's nice. Very adorable. The Ugarlics have no chance of pushing out. They would have to use their Federation fleet in order to do that, which I am not sure where their Federation fleet actually is. Don't actually know that. But if the Hive continues to push into the Eradicators, that is actually fine. That just becomes part of Phase 2 of our war plan. So anything beyond this line here, so anything over this way that the Hive controls past this line, is Phase 2. Phase 1 is of course killing the Star Dynasty, Phase 2 is anything here, Phase 3 is wiping out the Hive. So that's pretty much the plan. I think at this point there's no way that I declare this episode, considering we've only got like 3 minutes left in the episode. So I think we just go ahead and wait for these gateways. It'll be another 1300 days. That'll fly right on by. Probably not. Well, we won't actually need the gateways for a little bit in our plan. So I think as long as we're about a year out from finishing the gateways, we're probably okay. So here in about 800-ish days, 800, 900, somewhere in there. Somewhere around 3 years.
We have claimed a new world.
That would be when we are going to go to war. And it will be great. Absolutely fantastic. What all is on bridge? Look at that, Betharian stone. Look at that, double Betharian stone. Oh, look at that, Betharian stone. Oh, look at that, Betharian stone. Ring worlds are so strong. Like, ring worlds are insanely strong. I should create, probably in a single-player game sometime, I should create a species that is just focused on building 1,000,000 megastructures. That could be fun. It'd be a lot of waiting around, which is why I'm saying probably a not on the channel thing, but I would like that kind of gameplay, I think. I should try it. I don't know, maybe it would be interesting enough. Probably not. Okay, so how long do we have here? That's not it. This is it up here. We have about 1,000 days left. 1150. Okay, so yeah, somewhere around 2.5 more years. Once 2.5 more years pass, we'll strongly consider going to war, or if it looks like they're about to end their war. Which it looks like they're starting to take control of the war now, the Hive. That's a little bit unfortunate. It's not unexpected. Just a little unfortunate. The Star Dynasty is... I mean, there still hasn't been hardly any territorial change. Has there been any territorial change? I'm not sure there has. Well, this is fully occupied by the Eradicators, and yeah. I mean, there really hasn't been much territory change. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put a cut in here. And next episode, we are probably going to be going to war for one of the final times. Not the final time, but potentially the penultimate time. Probably the third or fourth to last time. I'm not entirely convinced we can conquer all of this in 2 wars. Anyway, see you next time.